Okay, we're just gonna skip that. Welcome to the CheezeTalk podcast. I'm your host Brian. Today I'm joined by Chuck. His second time on the show. Chuck, say hi.
Hello, everyone. Great to be back. Thanks,
So
Brian.
we're a little bit past our 8:00 start time, but we had some technical difficulties, but we did figure it out. I want to give a shout out to the Open Network quick for giving me the chance to pod under their umbrella, the Open Network. They are 47 followers away on Twitter from giving away an 8x10 autographed Jair Alexander picture. And if you could follow or subscribe to my YouTube channel at CheezeTalk Podcast, I'm 6 subscribers away from giving away a Cheese Life t-shirt and a bag of fresh cheese curds from a local cheese shop.
Can't go wrong with that.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey, good to talk to you again, Brian.
Yeah, what's new?
Not new. Just dealing with the heat here in North Carolina. It's close to 100 degrees the last couple days, so battling that out. But no, life is good.
Good day to be a good couple days to be a hermit.
Definitely.
A few things. What are your thoughts so far? What's coming out of the OTAs? Nothing really, or?
No, it sounds like everyone's progressing well. The thing I'm kind of watching is the offensive line, and where they're moving Morgan, and it looks like they're kind of moving him all around. So we're not really sure, where he's going to be. But I like the versatility there, so that's nice. And so once training camp starts and preseason games, we'll kind of really see where he fits in, if he is even a starter. Fortunately, it's a good problem when you don't need your first round pick to be a starter, but it'd be so. And Marshawn Lloyd, and I'm also interested in all the safeties we drafted. Javon Bullard, Evan Williams. So that's another thing to keep an eye out. And
sure. Yeah, it's interesting to see, and for the most part, it looks like majority of the team was there even for like the off-season program.
Yeah,
and that's a big step for a team, is to show that you're all dedicated.
Definitely, and I like the fact that Jordan Love had a couple of his receivers out with him in California during the off-season, working together, and so that was encouraging. Right. So,
yeah, I think we got something special brewing in Green Bay.
Oh, definitely.
Let's hope so, at least, right? That's all
definitely.
You can do.
Well, when your fifth receiver can get a 100-yard game for you when you need it, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and I'm hoping too with new kickoff rules that we'll get some points from our special teams as well.
Judging from what Keyshawn Nixon is saying, it sounds like this might be even more beneficial for him than, which is hard to believe since he did so well already with the, traditional kickoff return. So
right,
this is going to be interesting. I think Rich Bisaccia is going to kind of earn his money, or, showcase what he can do here with the new rules. So
for sure. Yeah, this is where he's going to earn his money, like you said. Do you think are you gaining more and more confidence in our defense in stopping the run?
Well, obviously that's been an issue for years, or maybe almost a decade or so, stopping the run. So I like the pieces, getting the linebackers better, and then strong safeties who can hit, I think is key. Obviously you can't always stop them at the line, but if you can stop them with, your the Quay Walkers and now Edgerrin Cooper, who can get there so quick, I think that's really going to pay dividends. And you're right, that is that's a huge thing. If we can get people to be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 3 because they ran for 7 yards on two carries, that's a whole different deal. So
yeah, I'll take the second level tackles for a gain of like 2.
Yeah,
do that 3 times and they're punting the ball. So it's better. I'd rather have my linebackers making the tackles like close to the line of scrimmage versus back in the safety area. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely think though. I'm just this team has a different vibe about it this year. It really does. Like we were kind of not so much in lingo last off season, but we know our direction more this off season, and
Definitely.
we knew what we had to improve on. I mean, I think we drafted perfectly. You know,
Oh, yeah.
maybe George Morgan ain't going to be a day one starter, but he was sought after for a reason. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, exactly.
and there's a method behind the madness.
Definitely.
If it was so easy, we'd all be GMs,
Yeah, exactly. And I think the Packers have earned their trust on drafting offensive linemen. It's especially even in the later rounds. They're picking guys who are starters and great players. So like the Bakhtiaris, and even back in the day, Tauschers, a seventh round, all those. So
PJ Lang, yeah, Josh
yeah,
Sitton, and
yeah.
was it? You can even go back. Yeah, it's just crazy. You think back all the linemen that they got that have had major roles on the team.
Well, that's the nice thing about Gutenkist, because he takes some of those Ted Thompson principles that made him successful, and then kind of used it now. And plus him being a little more aggressive in free agency, I think that's kind of a good balance that, he took what he learned from Ted and added his own twist to it. And so obviously from the drafting, it seems to be working well. So
yeah, be aggressive when you can, when you have the financials.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have the financials, you can't do anything except try to keep your own players in house.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Oh, definitely. Well, that's the problem when you have a good team, and it's like, oh man, who am I going to pay?
Right.
Oh, I found an interesting fact this week. There's another Packer fan who lives down the block of me in Raleigh, North Carolina. Brian Gutekunst lived in our subdivision here.
Really?
Yeah. So, of course, it's from his boss told him that he knows his parents and so on. And
when I was working second shift at Oshkosh Truck, there was a guy that I worked with who his cousin was married to Goody. I'm pretty sure. I don't know the relation, but I know that he's somehow in a roundabout way related to him. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably living the low profile and just trying to just be invisible.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm ready for the training camp to start and see what we got and see what kind of stories come out of training camp about the competition battles and hopefully with the secondary with McKinney and Alexander and Stokes, they all make each other better, and this iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, the Stokes is the question mark for me. I mean, obviously with the speed and his ability, especially his rookie year, that was great. Obviously, we haven't seen that same, but if he's able to get himself healthier, like we hope Christian Watson can from his hamstring problems, I think Stokes can be, a huge lift, especially because Valentine's sounds like he's been playing well too in OTAs and everything. So they're happy with him too. So
for sure. Who, with the receiving production that we have had the last couple of years, granted we've had Watson out with injuries, who would you put as our number one receiver?
Well, I think it's Watson, just because the size, the speed, and when he is in, you saw Jordan Love going to him a lot, and especially like in the end zone area. But let's say it happens again and he's having injury issues. I think you got to go to Jaden Reed right now.
Reed and then Dobbs, then Wicks, and run the tight ends.
Wicks is more the big play guy. Dobbs is the consistent guy you can count on. But I'm thinking you need a third down you're probably going to Reed because he's shown he can get open and he can get the tough yards after catch as well. And so,
right. Yeah, I think when you have Watson, if he's 100%, he's by far he would be the number one.
Yeah.
Because he can just burn deep any defense you put on him. You know, he has the speed to get away.
Well, and that makes the other guys better too, because the other team has to respect his speed. So even if their Love isn't throwing him the ball, that's going to give more space for Wicks and Dubs and, you know, everyone. So I think if he stays in the game, you know, I think we're a better team when he's in there.
Look, we got a Bills fan chiming in. Mafia members pod. Christian Watson would get my vote as wide receiver number one as well.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Alrighty, you ready for some random questions, Chuck?
Sure. I just had one question for you. You being a Green Bay resident, obviously they announced Ed Policy is taking over for Mark Murphy next year at the end of next year. So I didn't know much about him except I did some research, and it looks like he's been there 13 years, and he led the development of Titletown. And so you've been telling me and telling the listeners how nice Titletown has developed.
Yeah. I mean, he knows the organization. He's been around long enough. He knows what the fans want and what attracts fans, you know.
Definitely.
I mean, it's a year-round thing, bringing in income year-round for the city of Green Bay. And
I think, you know, his family lineage being Carmen Policy's son, you know, he used to own the 49ers, and, you know, so probably from an early age, he had a good idea about it. NFL.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That's something to think about too. Think about his dad, right?
Oh yeah,
Carmen. Yeah, I mean, I remember the name Carmen Policy from back in the Steve Young days.
Yep.
So yeah, Titletown is definitely nice, and they're not done yet. So
nice. So yeah, I thought that was a interesting, you know, development. You know, because I don't think every one has you know, retirement, mandatory retirement ages. So, you know,
I just think it's cool how it's like written in the contract, and they know what they're going into. You know, and it's not like a shock and all. It's like, oh, you're forcing me to retire. No, it's like, you know, if you're there long enough to be 70, it's coming to an end. You know,
right. So,
yeah, and I posted something about that on Twitter, and someone someone telling you what you can and can't. It's not what I meant for it to be. I was meant for it to be, look at, you know, Packers have it written in that once you hit 70, you know, time to step down. I didn't mean for it to be compared to anything else going on in the world. So whatever.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about Mark Murphy. We know he's well compensated, so he'll be okay.
Yeah. All right. This is where the we talked about the Packers a little bit, and then we're going to talk about some random questions to get to know Chuck.
All
right. If you could live anywhere, where would it be?
I'll hedge on this for you. One, to be by my family. We'd move back probably to Madison, Wisconsin area where my daughter and my granddaughter and son-in-law are. That'd always be fun. But if just for fun area, my wife and I, we took a trip to Hawaii, and we just loved it there. I mean, you know, it's beautiful, the weather, the scenery, just the food. We had a blast there, and so that would be probably a place we would consider living, you know. But, you know, you come back from a vacation there and you're looking out at the ocean, you know, and the volcanoes, and then you go home and you're looking across the street and seeing your neighbor's house. It's kind of a letdown when you get home.
It's like, I'll have to come back and deal with them. Cool. At least that's how I would be. Sorry, neighbors. I'd probably just pick where I'm at now. I love the Packers, love the being that close to history, you know.
Oh yeah.
And knowing that if I ever have a like a bad day or something like that, I can always just, not a bad day, but just you can always go there and just walk around aimlessly, because they're
Sure.
open damn near year round. So it's
Yeah.
cool to be, within, 15-minute drive, 10-minute drive to Lambeau Field.
Definitely.
What is one of your biggest pet peeves?
It's a silly one, but I do face it here. It's when I go to our local grocery store and people leave the cart, they don't put them in the cart racks. And they're blocking a parking spot because they leave the carts there, or people park in the fire lane. They just wait for someone to come out, and it's like those. I know in the scheme of life, it's not a big deal, but it bugs me. And I don't know why, but it does, and unfortunately, it continues to happen. So,
Yeah, I see. Mine would be people who drive slow in the fast lane.
Yeah.
And people then, when you're in the fast lane, people go flying by you in the slow lane. If I'm going, 70, 80, 82 in a 70-mile-an-hour zone in the fast lane, and you got somebody coming up next to you going, almost 100. It's like, okay.
or then you go to Illinois and you're going 80 in the left lane, and that's still not fast enough.
Yeah. Try to avoid. The only thing good about Illinois is like their deep dish pizza. That's about it. Oh, don't get me started, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite toy as a kid?
I have a couple. One, the Mattel Electronics little football game that you used to play. This probably came out in the late 70s, early 80s, and you pressed the little buttons and it would move the football for you. It was kind of fun. And then I used to have this Evel Knievel toy, and it was Evel Knievel on a little motorcycle, and then you'd rev it up, and then it would just drive. And my brother and I, we'd build ramps, or we'd have it drive through blocks, or there's a couple times because we did it outside. You'd light something on fire and have it drive through. So that was kind of fun. It was so I had good memories from those toys. So
yeah, if I were to think, I would probably like those little, I don't know, 3-4 inch GI Joes.
Oh, sure.
I love the GI Joes, or the wrestling figures with the wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
I was an '80s kid, so I was a little bit
Sure.
after you. That, or like those racetracks with the
Oh yeah,
with the electric cars or whatever.
the Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
Those are good.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a grandpa, my grandson will come over and we got the Hot Wheels tracks, or he takes these little army men. They have parachutes and he drops them from the second floor and down. And so it's a good excuse to be a kid again, when he comes over. So that's kind of fun.
You just never stop being a kid. Simple solution.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Favorite AFC team?
Okay. Let's see. Maybe I would say probably the Buffalo Bills.
And, there you go, Mafia members pod. You got a Buffalo Bills fan here.
And some of that goes back to my early fantasy football days. I remember having Bills. Remember Steve Christie helped me win a championship because Doug Flutie would get the Bills all the way to the, and not get them in the end zone, but then Christie would get a lot of field goals. And, now I have Josh Allen on my dynasty team. I got him for cheap, and he did great. But also, they're kind of fun, and you love to see all the snow stories, when, the one story where they had to go take snowmobiles to go get some of the players out of their houses because they couldn't make it to the game, that type of stuff. And so, yeah, that's probably
that'd be chaotic, or that'd be like organizing that, like getting their address in the map and then going and picking them up, and accounting for
Definitely.
everybody, and that'd be one chaotic situation.
Well, I've heard that happened, I think, in the 60s for the Packers, too, where they had to get some guys. So um, hopefully some of the historians can back me up on this. But
I'm sure it did happen. Favorite place to vacation? Would you say Hawaii?
yeah, probably Hawaii. And yeah, we just had a great time there. And so, hopefully we'll start maybe next year or so. We'll go across the pond, maybe we'll go to Europe, but until we get there, it won't be my favorite place yet. So
Yeah, you make it to Brazil for the game?
I thought about it, but I don't. We're not gonna.
Yeah, my favorite place is right here in Wisconsin. It's either up in Door County or
Sure.
Minocqua.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
that's more home for me than.
yeah,
I mean, if a destination place presents itself, I guess I'd say yeah. But I just like to be comfortable when I go somewhere,
oh exactly.
because you never know anymore. To be honest.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little different world than 30 years ago. So
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm more of a night owl.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of times, my wife will, I always tease my wife, it's like if she had a bar, last call would be at 8:30, so she could get home by 9 to get to bed. It's like, but I'm more, I generally stay up till 11, and that's fine. I still get up early for work, but it's um, the one thing that was tough though, making the move to North Carolina was, TV games. You get an 8 or 8:30 game at night Central Time. Well, it's 9:30 on the
Yeah.
East Coast. They're all your 9 o'clock shows are now 10 o'clock, so that makes it a little tough, a little more difficult. So that was an adjustment. Appreciated the Central Time Zone very much.
Yeah, I'm both. I'm early morning and I can be a night owl. It's
So,
I tend to catch myself falling asleep at night though on the couch. Whatever. Wake up and the TV's still on, everyone's sleeping. It's like, okay, time to go to bed, I guess.
right.
Speaking of sleep, what one thing that's overrated?
As far as sleep,
I know anything.
oh,
I was just saying sleep's overrated.
uh, that's a tough question. What's overrated? Probably.
The Bears.
Well, yeah. Well, that's kind of a given. I didn't want to give too obvious of an answer, but I like how they get a little delusional. It's like they win the off season every year and they expect greatness, and it's like I think they're getting closer, but until you have a proven quarterback, you really don't know, and even if they have potential, so we'll see.
Yeah, I can't think of one thing that's overrated. There's a lot that you could put down.
Yeah.
Just favorite pizza topping.
Actually, Italian sausage, I think is.
A little spicy.
Yeah, just a little spicy. I'm still kind of wimpy on that, but a little spice is nice. And back home in Racine, Wells Brothers is my favorite place to go, and Fusino's there is very good. And so, yeah, I do miss the Midwest area for the pizza. Isn't quite as good here as it.
You make your own.
Yeah, and we do from time to time.
Yeah. What fictional place would you like to visit if you had the chance?
A fictional place.
For example, I'd like to go to Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob.
Oh yeah, well, everyone loves SpongeBob. I would probably. I'm not a real sci-fi guy, so let's see. I think That's a tough question. I'm going to have to think about that.
Okay. If time or money were no issue, what hobby would you get into?
Well, I think probably my hobby would be stadium visiting, kind of like, okay, let's take all the MLB stadiums and go to all of them. Let's go to all the, football stadium, do the NBAs, I think that would be kind of fun. And then, obviously do the international ones too. And so I know I've seen some tour packages, especially for baseball, where you can do an East Coast one and hit, the Mets Stadium, Yankee Stadium, Phillies, and so hopefully maybe in the next couple of years, my brother and I might, maybe my son will go and do a couple of those, and that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd get into like sports memorabilia dealing.
Nice.
Just if there's no time or money, I mean, if money's endless, I'd buy and sell it, or just collect it.
I'm kind of a history geek too, so I like to go to historical places and and the Smithsonian, and I'd maybe as a hobby do some sports history. I think that would be fun to research and to maybe talk about and things like that. That'd be kind of fun.
Ivan N. Good evening. Good evening, Ivan.
Hey, Ivan.
See here. What's your favorite beverage?
Well, probably I drink a lot of Diet Dr. Pepper, so you can tell I'm a party guy. So
yeah, that's what I like too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quit the alcohol, so I go with either soda or sparkling water or water.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what's the best single day on the calendar?
I generally like football's opening day, the first Sunday, almost more than just the first, that Thursday night game. I think the first Sunday where you got, 14 games going, and I got the red zone on, and I got a couple TVs going, and that's just a lot of fun for me being a football geek. So
yeah, like the first day, the opening day of football, and you got the smell of like burning leaves outside, and it's just
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Definitely. And also the first day of the the NCAA tournament's kind of fun too. So
ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I like going, maybe you go to Buffalo Wild Wings or you stay in with your buddies and you just watch all the game going on. It's a good time.
For sure. What is the most interesting place you have been to?
Well, let's see. The probably the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. I mean, just all the sheer history and all the different eras of time, parts of the world, just all the documentation. It was, that's not a place where you can do in an afternoon. That's a 2, 3, 4 day, thing if you're going to do it right. So I think that was, being a history buff, that was probably the most interesting place I've been to.
I'm trying to think of the most interesting place I've been to. Probably Northern California. I mean, probably Northern California. I went out there for a job that I previously had, and I was out there for like a week. And just it was weird. It was just, I mean, I guess I wasn't used to so many like homeless people, but they're everywhere.
Oh, really?
And I'll never forget like driving down the street, and there was one homeless guy walking with a 30-pack of beer. He passed another homeless guy, and the homeless guy that he passed turned around and looked and saw that he had 30-pack of beer, so he turned around and started following him. I'm like,
Oh,
and then one guy was out in front of a store with a sign that said, "We'll work for beer," or something like that. It's just like, man, make sure you lock your stuff up. But no, I don't know. The Johnny Carson Airport, I guess, in San Francisco too, was kind of cool because it had like open ceilings, like open, birds are flying around and everywhere. So that's kind of cool too.
Oh, definitely. Nice.
What is worth spending more on to get the best?
Probably. Sometimes I would say maybe my computer or a car, just to get the options that are important to you, and that's the same with technology. So I'd say probably I might spend a little more on my computer when I have to upgrade, or maybe probably my electronics, I think, would be.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I'd have to agree, just because you invest so much and you trust it so much to work for you and keep files and documents and personal information and all that. And if it crashes on you because it's cheap and you can't recover your own stuff, then you're upset. Then you break stuff, and then you break more stuff. Yeah. What risks are worth taking?
Let's see. Okay, I'll give a couple here to find. There's things like small risks, maybe going over the speed limit because you're late, and you kind of get in trouble if you're late for a meeting or meeting someone or whatever. So that's a small risk, but it's still a risk, because you could get pulled over or get hurt or something. But that's it. But as far as a bigger risk, there's probably. Oh, I used to like to, when I'd go to baseball games, go down to the front row and sit there for a little while, even though they weren't my seats, just so I could get a better experience. Because even though, someone gives you a dirty look or they kick you out, you still got maybe that good picture, or that, seeing your favorite player up close, so.
Right.
Those type of things. I'm not a huge risk taker, but those are the type of things, something like, you don't want to disappoint people, or you can get a better experience, maybe a short one is kind of worth the risk of getting kicked out or getting yelled at.
Right. Yeah, I'd have to say speeding is probably, or going over the speed limit's probably one of mine. I tend to have a lead foot. I don't know. I usually know where the cops like to sit. I've been around long enough to know where what they like to hide.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny though, moving to North Carolina, I kind of compare them to Illinois drivers, except with less skill, because they drive fast, but even on sunny days, there's always crashes around here, and they're very aggressive. But I think maybe just Illinois people are used to it, and they have a little more skill and don't crash as much. So it's always so the thing is, if normally you would stop as a light turning yellow, you really have to be careful here. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror, making sure they're not, because there's been times I've gone through a yellow light and then 3-4 cars behind me go through that light too. And it's like, oh man. So that's something I had to learn moving here. So
yeah, I hate that when you're approaching a stoplight, you kind of slow down when it's green.
Yeah.
And then it turns yellow and you're like right there, and you like do like the 1-2 tap on the brake, then you just gun it. Screw it, I'm going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. What would your spirit animal be?
Well, it wouldn't be a bird, that's for sure. I used to get scared of birds when I was a little kid, but get dived bomb at golf courses, from a bird because I hit it too close to the tree and babies were in it or flying out of the culvert or whatever. But my spirit animal, I think, would probably be, I don't know, maybe a kangaroo because they're kind of nice and cute. But if they're kind of cornered, they get a little feisty.
Yeah,
they get fight back. So I think that kind of maybe fits my personality more. So
yeah, I'd probably go with like a bear. A nice one though.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like Yogi Bear.
Yeah, like Yogi Bear.
All right.
What job would you be terrible at?
Probably a truck driver because I don't know if I have the the patience to be driving, or maybe even the skill just to constantly, it's like driving something, you have to do, and it's not something I overly enjoy. So, and plus, yeah, I don't think I'd be good at that.
Like a semi?
Yeah, like a semi. I think, yeah.
A flatbed truck ain't that bad.
No.
Or like a box truck.
Right. And I've done that, rented a U-Haul truck and stuff, and no problems, But yeah, driving a semi, I don't think I'd be very good at that.
What state or country do you never want to go back to, and why is it Illinois? Just kidding, guys. Come on. Jeepers. I can already feel it.
Yeah, really. There hasn't been too many. I took a couple business trips to South Carolina, and I wasn't overly impressed until our friends took us to this nice place, Kiwa Island, where it's just beautiful resort area, and it was totally different than the rest of the South Carolina I had seen, and so I suppose every state has its beautiful and not so beautiful spots, but yeah, that and probably Illinois. I've had fun in Chicago, but the rest of Illinois I really don't have much love for. So
yeah, I like the Chicago skyline.
Oh yeah,
my favorite skyline out of all of them.
Oh, definitely.
And I think just the simple fact that I had family, that I still do have family down in that area. I think it's always attracted me to the Chicago area.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing I'll admit that I like about Illinois is the skyline. That's about it. And their deep dish pizza.
Yeah, I remember I was working my first job out of college and working with this distributor from Illinois, and we bet on a game, and Packer Bear game, and it was the under review game, the one with Don Mikowski, whether he stepped over the line or not, and so I won. Was it Carson's ribs, and then a pizza from there too. So that was they were still crabbing about it the whole time, but they paid up on the bet, so that was nice.
Yeah, I was down there 2 years ago, like in the Schaumburg area.
Yeah,
and I had Giordano's pizza.
Oh yeah.
Oh my, that is the best pizza I've ever had in my life.
Right. Those deep dishes are fantastic. You just can't eat them all the time, it's because it's like a casserole and they're so thick, but it's
one
good.
piece is like 10 pounds.
Exactly.
What takes up too much of your time?
Work, sports. Yeah, work is really inconvenient. But probably, going through Twitter and other things to get kind of probably my fantasy football love, because especially with dynasty leagues, you're in the off season, and it's technically they always say there's no off season. You could always be trading, you could always be, and so. Yeah,
so what, the dynasty leagues, you just keep what you have, like end of the year, you get to keep X amount of players and then draft, or
right. I have a couple different ones, but like the one, my main one is I have a roster of 16 players, and we draft rookies each year, just a 2-round, draft, and then the rest of the players you draft via auction. And so you have a $200 budget. All your 16 of your players, their dollar amounts you bid on them can add up to 200. And so it was nice. I have Christian Watson on that I got in the second round, and it only cost me $1. And I have like Josh Allen for only $4. But then I got in a bid for Tyreek Hill one year, and he cost me $69. And so
wow.
So that's how you got to balance it. And so then you kind of look to trade and see how maybe my team's not going to contend. Then you start to sell players and look for draft picks, and things like that. So that's kind of the challenge I enjoy.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. It keeps your brain working,
Oh, definitely.
Keeps you out of trouble.
Definitely, yeah. That's all guys I used to work with in Milwaukee in that league. So it's try to go back there in August for the draft.
Yeah. Are you going to come to Green Bay for the draft next year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I am. My brother and I think my son-in-law and a couple of my buddies from Racine, we're all gonna be there. So.
What's the farthest you've ever been from home?
Yeah, it was probably Hawaii.
Yeah. That's quite.
Yeah.
That's quite the trip, especially from central United States.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, we flew from we drove down to O'Hare from Racine. Then we flew to Atlanta, and then they flew us to Hawaii. So that was interesting.
Kind of like when I was in San Francisco, they flew me from. I was in a layover all day, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Well, my seat, I got bumped off the flight, so I didn't get a flight. I was in the airport for like 18, 19 hours straight because I was waiting for a seat to open up for me on a flight. So I had to go from San Francisco to Atlanta, then from Atlanta to Madison, which didn't make any sense to me. It's like whatever, And then the plane from Atlanta to Madison was like a puddle jumper plane. It was like 3 seats wide, and it was not. And the whole time the plane is just sitting there just shaking. It's like, oh my God.
That's nice. We've been flying to Seattle a lot because my daughter married an Army guy, and they're out in Washington State. So those are nice little 5.5-hour flights.
Yeah. What is it from? It's like 5.5 hours, right? From like central United States to the West Coast.
Yeah, from the flight from Raleigh, North Carolina to Seattle is 5.5 hours.
Okay.
And sometimes the flight back's a little shorter, depends with the wind or whatever, and you can save a half hour or something.
Let me see here. Besides coffee, what's the best way to start your day?
Wake up, have a nice quick breakfast, grab my Diet Dr. Pepper, and maybe make myself an egg or breakfast sandwich, and go jump in the shower. That's a good start.
Yep, get that shower to get you wide awake in the morning.
Definitely.
What is the most annoying question people ask you?
Well, most annoying would probably be, how old are you?
Yeah. It's like, how old am I, or how old do I feel?
Yeah.
That's two separate.
And that can change from day to day. So.
Yeah. Let me see here. What is something you think everyone should do at least once in their lives?
I think everyone should probably, something I haven't done yet, but I think I should do, is go to Europe and just see, you know. And
Yeah, my bucket list is I want to go to Italy.
yeah, that's probably my favorite my potential destination. I just think it's nice for us to see a different they have more history over there, and our country's from 1492, but really our country's only from 1776, so we don't have a 250 years of history where they have thousands. And so I think it's nice. And because I know Europeans ask, well, Americans don't try. It's like, I don't think they realize that, like, going from state to state is like going from a country, for them going to another country, because our country's so big. And
so I have a few more questions for you, then we'll wrap her up, Chuck.
Sure.
What is the luckiest thing that has happened to you?
That's a tough question. That one that my wife actually said yes, she'll marry me, because I think that kind of improved the quality of my life, definitely.
Right.
So, nothing. I'm just leading a nice average life, but it's happy. I have kids, I have grandkids, and life is good, because of her too. And so I think that's probably, at least that's the thing that had the most impact, I should say. So.
Yeah, I'd say it for me too. I met my wife at a time where I wasn't interested in a relationship, and I was in a bad spot, and 18 years later, we got 5 kids. We live right in Green Bay, outside of Green Bay, and huge Packer fan. So not only did I meet her, but we ended up moving back to her hometown, which is just outside of Green Bay. So
okay.
So yeah, that's what I'm lucky thing that happened to me. They say you find it when you least expect it.
Oh, exactly. Fortunately, I was still young and hopefully had a bright future and had a flat stomach at the time I met her. I was fortunate.
Oh, yeah. What did you think you would grow out of, but you haven't?
Cartoons and animated shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought it would, but I still watch I love South Park, and I watch The Simpsons, and it's always funny how many things the Simpsons shows have predicted kind of over the years, just because, when you're on that long, it's like,
you can almost guess what's going to happen,
Oh yeah. And so
2 more for you.
Sure.
What's something you're self-conscious about?
Probably sometimes my midsection now that I'm getting a little older, and sometimes, and then I have one eye that's a little lazy sometimes, and so I get a little self-conscious of that. But
Sure.
But the nice thing about getting older, I'm not as self-conscious as I was when I was probably 20 or 25. You just kind of don't care as much.
Right.
So that's good.
Last question here for you. What gets you fired up?
All right. Well, I'll give you a 2-point answer on this. Like big games for the Packers and the Bucks, and a lot of times on Twitter you'll see some of those kind of hype videos, and I'm already hyped up to begin with for a big game, and then you just see one of those, or because I know sometimes when I'm having a down day or a bad day, I like to go watch videos of Giannis just destroying people and dunking on people, and it kind of makes me feel better, and it gets me a little fired up. And so that's just dumb little things like that kind of get me fired up. So
Yeah, for me, it's great. It's bad drivers.
What?
Bad drivers.
Oh, bad drivers. Oh, that gets fired up.
And then, like you mentioned, the shopping carts at stores in the parking lot. That doesn't get me so fired up as the people pushing those shopping carts while they're shopping. They stop in the middle of the aisle and they just don't have any. I know I shouldn't let it bother me, but it does. And
well, it's kind of like slow walkers too, and it's like I'm naturally a fast walker, and a couple times I got to watch because I'll be walking faster than my wife and I'll look behind and I pass her up, so I got to slow down. But like you said, in the grocery store, someone's blocking the aisle with their card or they're not looking, and then I just go into another aisle because I don't want to confront them, and it's like I get upset, so I just walk around.
Yeah, I met that situation head on when I used to work for Green Bay 7-Up, and my territory was Door County. So that's a major tourist destination in the summertime. I was at the Piggly Wiggly up in Sister Bay, and that place, the checkout line was going all the way outside.
Oh, wow.
It was like wrapped. There's like 5 or 6 checkout aisles, and then they all came to one, and it was like wrapped and intertwined in between the shelves and the aisles and outside. So I was trying to, stock the shelves, and I had people running the back of my legs with their carts and hit me in the ankle. I was like, oh my God, But yeah, so I always have no patience when I'm shopping or when I'm driving because of that simple of that scenario.
Understandable.
But well, Chuck, we've come to the end. I want to thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Once we get into the preseason, we'll get you back on and see what we have coming out of training camp in Green Bay.
Hey, sounds great.
And where can people find you at, Chuck?
You can find me at Twitter at CRMets23.
Perfect. Go and give him a follow. Give me a follow. Follow me on my YouTube channel. 6 more people, and I will be giving away a free T-shirt and some cheese curds, fresh. They ship, so don't worry about that.
All right.
They won't show up rotten, I promise. All right. Well, Chuck, thank you, and you have a good night.
Yeah, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.